It's 3:30, and the Affordable Housing Committee meeting will come to order. The first thing we want to do is take a roll call of committee members. And so I will ask if all committee member present would raise their WebEx hand. I only see 4 hands, but I do see other names on.
Chair, this is Sean Parker. I joined a few minutes late. Could someone tell me what we're voting on?
No, we're just checking the roll call.
Oh, okay. Well, I am here.
Thank you. So, Director Cooper, I have Mendez, Taylor, Welsh, Sepulveda, and Parker. I see Councilmember Toombs there. And Sledge, Councilmember Sledge.
I'm here, Chair. This is Councilmember Toombs.
All right. So I believe we have a quorum. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
That's everybody. All right. I'm going to read the motion for the electronic meeting. And if we can have someone move once I finish reading. It says, pursuant to Governor Lee's Executive Order number 16 regarding electronic meetings as extended by Executive Orders number 34 and 51, I make a motion that this committee meeting agenda constitutes essential business of the Metropolitan Council and that meeting electronically is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of Tennesseans in light of the COVID-19 outbreak. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. So we only have one bill on our agenda, and we want to make it quick because there's 3 committee meetings today. But before we go to that one item, I just want to make a few comments. I wanted to thank everyone who is serving again on this committee. I'm honored to serve with you. I'm going to kick a lot of the things that Councilmember Allen did last year. She tried to make our meetings very informational. We had meetings where we have a lot of people talking to us, and I think I want to keep that going. There's a lot of things that we shared at our first meeting as possible projects. I'm going to ask every committee member to go back and take a look at those. I'll be more than happy to forward to all of you again. I think if we can have continuity of thoughts and process, and we can go ahead and continue all of that, if that's okay with you. The second thing that I wanted to share with you is that Councilmember Sean Parker has graciously agreed to continue as vice chair of the committee. So thank you, Councilmember Parker, for your commitment to serve in that role. Third thing, Councilmember Gloria Hauser is in the hospital. She should be discharged today. She had pneumonia. Please keep her in your prayers. I know that's not committee item, but since she's a member, I want to make sure that you all reach out and say hi to her. And then the last thing is that I made a small change in how we get our committee agenda. I think in the past, the chair gets it on Friday and committee members get it on Monday morning. I've told Ms. Doris that I'm asking that committee members also get it on Friday. I think it's good to have things ahead of time, focusing on the committee so that you have the weekends to look at it. So after having said that, those are my comments. We want to go ahead and go to our bill that we have. That's bill number 2020224. It amends the Metro Code to require landlords to provide notice to tenants prior to a sale of the property. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Councilmember Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for your willingness also to serve as the Affordable Housing Chair. I really appreciate you. I am excited to talk to you all about BL 2022-24 this evening. We have we spent a lot of time and a lot of work on this bill, and we have an amendment tonight that I would like to discuss on this bill. And I know that Councilmember Nash also has an amendment that I believe he would like to discuss. And so what I would like to do is, before we can discuss that amendment, I would like to move to accept this amendment. And it is, it should be in your amendments packet. So
It's on page 19 of the amendment packet that was sent this morning. And Director Cooper, please correct me now. I know we did a motion in the beginning, but now that Councilmember Taylor is proposing an amendment, do we get a motion to consider the amendment?
Yes, he has made the motion for the amendment, so you'll just get a second on that and then open it up for discussion.
All right. So do I have a second on that motion for the amendment?
Second.
Thank you. All right, Councilmember Taylor.
Great, thanks so much. One of the things that this amendment will do, and I think this was mostly the most heartburn as I've discussed it with several individuals, was 90 days. And so we have asked to strike that to 30 days written notice to residential tenants prior to the listing of sale. And I believe that is a great place to land on. We received an email this afternoon from the Greater Nashville Realtors in response. I've been working with them. I've sent this to them directly so they could have some time to review the amendment. And they have sent a note in regards to the conversations that we've had and the language that's been updated in this amendment, that they are willing to withdraw their opposition to this bill, which speaks, I think, volumes of the work that we've been able to do on this bill. It also will, this bill would also, and it notes this section shall not apply to properties that have 100 rental units or more. I know that was a conversation that we had because this is looking more toward smaller units. The written lease agreement has been added also that we require notice to the tenant within the written lease agreement. So individuals, landlords, or organizations with written lease agreements or 100 or more units will be able to use this in their lease agreements. And then in Section B, this is exactly just mirroring the state law in regards to the landlord tenant code there. So I think we've made some good leadway. This bill still will do exactly what we set out for it to do, to protect tenants. And I think that on the back end with the individuals that were in opposition, I believe that this is, we've been able to get it to a place where we all can feel good about it and move it and move this bill forward. So I ask you right now, can we, if there's any discussion, we can have it, but I would love to get a second on, or to get this, a vote on this now, and ask for you all as a committee to pass it.
I see a couple of hands raised. I don't know if it's from the roll call or if people want to comment. Okay. I'm guessing it's not for roll call. Okay. Councilmember Mendes.
Thank you, Council Member. Congratulations on being our chair. You're going to do a great job. And so I really do appreciate all the work that's happened on this, and I do, and I don't want to just repeat stuff I said at the last meeting. I do appreciate the intentions here. I think that this is, as drafted, still is going to create some unintended difficulty in getting transactions closed, and I wish that we could find a way to balance getting appropriate notice to tenants without creating difficulty for transactions. But I know I'm just repeating what I've said before, so I'm going to respectfully decline to support it in the most hopefully respectful way possible, given all the work that's gone into it by everybody.
Thank you. Councilmember Harlan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just wanted to let you know that I am here. Apologize for being late due to technical difficulties. And to thank Councilmember Taylor for all the work he's done on this. I appreciate his listening to folks that have needs of better notice, but also being responsive to what the Greater Nashville Realtors say. And my understanding is we're still on second reading, so there's still ample time for input from the real estate community to hear if this is satisfied their concerns. I appreciate Councilmember Mendez just issuing cautionary warnings. So hopefully we've hit the right thing and we're solving the problem that we want to solve and not creating new ones. I don't know if we still want to look at another one on wrongful termination of lease separately, but I'm not going to offer my amendments at this point, and appreciate Councilmember Taylor continuing to work on this. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm checking to see if we have any other committee members. If not, Councilmember Nash, do you have something to say on this amendment, on Councilmember Taylor's amendment?
I do, Madam Chairman. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
I asked our council today about the 30-day written notice prior to listing, and I asked specifically, well, what if the property doesn't get listed? Because so many properties don't list anymore before a sale. And she said in that case, this ordinance would not apply, and I wanted to ask the sponsor if that was also his understanding.
Councilmember Taylor?
Yeah. So you're absolutely correct, Councilmember Nash. This day and time, a lot of properties aren't listed and they move very quickly, sometimes overnight or even less than a day. And so in this, there's also within 5 days of a binding sales agreement, we would like to send a notice in regards to if they're going to be vacating the premises. We could possibly look at making this a notice that there has been a transaction and that the property will change hands in this portion of the bill as well.
And I have one more question. So many of the emails I got from folks that opposed your original, and I think you've come a long way in making this much more acceptable to a greater number of people, but so many of the emails I got were from the folks who own 1 or 2 or 3 properties. Their parents have rented their house out where they're going to go live in assisted living facilities, and what kind of difficulties is that going to put on these people if they have to make a fairly quick sale of their apartment to get funds to pay for their ongoing care, for instance. And I was wondering how you came up with the 100 figure, in that when I got the emails also from NOAA, they were listing Howe Gardens and Edmondson Manor, which are fairly large properties and corporate type properties. I just wanted your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so in the Know Your Community data that we received, 52.2% of renters or Nashvillians that are renting in smaller units, right? So, or smaller units. 13.7% are renting in larger multi-units. And so we wanted to look at the number of individuals that were actually leasing their homes, and it just fell under that number, which what made it a little easier. So the majority of individuals are renting in those smaller units. Mm-hmm. And we've added, and I'll say this, Councilman Nash, we've added written lease, right? So if these individuals have a written lease in those areas, that takes away, I think in our last discussion, you talked about the month to month. I think that's where when I started thinking in regards to that written lease, generally by state law, by state law, the lease is month to month if there's not a written lease. And generally, some of these larger apartment complexes or individuals that are doing this on a larger scale, and even sometimes on a smaller scale, have a written annual lease. And so this will actually protect those, because we've had a lot of discussion in regards to the new owner taking over the current lease, right? And so, but if it's month to month, we only give individuals 30 days notice if they are going to renew or not. And so this would actually protect that month to month tenant as well.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Councilmember Taylor. Good work.
Thank you, Councilmember Nash. Councilmember Sledge.
Thank you, Chair. Similarly, Councilmember Allen, just wanted to make sure I was counted in attendance. Congrats on being chair, and I am in support of this amendment and the council member's work on this. I think he's gone beyond the call of duty on this one, so I appreciate his work.
Thank you. Before we vote, I wanted to add something also, because I did talk to, I was one of the sponsors of this bill. And I do want to clarify that I think the initial reason why the realtor had an issue with it is because everybody's looking at it from the listing point. I think by the time you get to listing, yes, it becomes transactional. But coming from experience, when you decide to sell your house, listing is not the first thing that you do. You have to get the house ready. In some cases, you have to paint it. You have to change the roof. You have to make sure that it's ready to where people can view it. So at the point where you decide to sell your house, that's when we're saying let your renters know. If you have, in that time before you talk to your listing agent, before you have to get a pre-approval, all of this happen before you go to your listing. And so that is the time that we're saying that at the point where you're deciding to sell, that's the time you need to let your tenants know before you take it to your listing agent. I think when we're thinking of it from the listing point, that's not what that meant. And some of the people that I talked to, a lot of people said, yes, someone said I have tenants. And when I was going to sell, I told my tenant and let them know that I'm preparing to sell. A lot of landlords do that. You have relationship and you do that. It's for the ones that are not. So I want people to not think of the notice from the point of listing. I think of the notice as a courtesy to people that are renting in your house that you want to sell. I'm getting it ready for the market. Before it hits the market, you have 2-3 weeks in there to do that. You need to get your financing. All of that happens from experience. So that's what this does, and it gives people ample time to be able to make the changes that they needed to make. Another thing that I want to remind everyone also in the conversation is that oftentimes by the time people find out that they have to move out, a lot of them have to come up with security deposit, first month rent. They have to change school. So the 30 days does not give enough time. But if you start from before you list it, the time that you list it to the time that you have your notice of a closing date, and for 30 days from when you're going to close, that gives people time to make the necessary adjustments. So having worked on this, talked to some of the people, I'm in support of it as well. So if there's no other comments, we will vote on Councilmember Taylor's amendment. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Aye.
Nay.
One nay. And would that be?
Mendez.
Yes, sir. So 8 for, 1 against. Is there any abstention? All right, the amendment passes. Thank you, everyone. So the next one that we have a second substitute by CM Nash. Councilmember Nash, are you moving your substitute?
I'm not offering it.
So it's withdrawn. Thank you. All right, that is all the business. If there's nothing else before the committee,
Councilmember, we actually need to get a motion on the bill as amended.
It's amended. See, I was in a rush. I was trying to get out early. All right, so can we have a motion on the bill as amended?
So moved.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Second, all right. So now we're voting on the bill as amended. All those in favor of the bill as amended? Say aye.
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 Any opposition?
I'll abstain, Chair.
So the bill passes 8-4, 0 against, 1 abstention. All right, thank you, everybody. What do I need to do? Do we need a motion to adjourn or do we just adjourn?
Councilmember Swan,
Yes, ma'am.
could I speak very briefly?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. I also want to say how happy I am to be handing off this committee into your very capable hands, and I know that you will do a great job, and I will support you any way I can.
Thank you for the support.
Yeah, you'll be great. Move for adjournment.
All right. Thank you. Meeting adjourned. All right, I guess I'm handing over to Councilmember Jones.